Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Picture this, it's the late 1800s. European powers are carving up Africa like a piece of cake, but Ethiopia's independence didn't come easy. To understand this story, we need to go back to the 1880s. Ethiopia, then known as Abyssinia, was an ancient Christian kingdom with thousands of years of history. Enter Emperor Menelik II, who came to power in 1889. This man was a brilliant strategist, a skilled diplomat, and he saw exactly what was happening across Africa. But Menelik had a plan. While European powers thought they could manipulate him, he was actually playing a much longer game. Italy, which had only recently unified as a nation itself, was desperate to join the colonial club. Visual suggestion. Image of the Treaty of Wacho, Chile in 1889, Italy and Ethiopia signed the Treaty of Wacho. But here's where it gets interesting, and this shows you the level of deception involved in colonialism. In the Italian version, Article 17 stated that Ethiopia must conduct all foreign affairs through Italy, essentially making Ethiopia an Italian protectorate. Italy then went to the other European powers and said, "Hey, we have a treaty. Ethiopia is our protectorate, back off." When Menelik discovered this deception in 1890, he was furious. Now, Menelik wasn't just angry, he was strategic. First, he modernized Ethiopia's military. While Italy assumed Ethiopia had spears and shields, Menelik had been importing modern rifles from France, Russia, and even Italy itself. Second, and this is crucial, Menelik unified Ethiopia like never before. His wife, Empress Taytu Betul, was instrumental in this effort. Third, Menelik used intelligence brilliantly. He had spies in Italian camps, he understood their military tactics, and he knew their weaknesses. On March 1, 1896, everything came to a head at the Battle of Adwa, a small town in northern Ethiopia. The Italian forces, commanded by General Oreste Baratieri, had about 17,700 troops, a mix of Italian soldiers and Eritrean colonial troops. The Ethiopian forces, between 80,000 and 120,000 warriors, commanded by Emperor Menelik II himself, with Empress Taytu Betul commanding her own contingent. The Italians' plan was to launch a surprise dawn attack. When dawn broke on March 1st, the Italian forces found themselves scattered, disoriented, and facing a massive Ethiopian army that was ready and waiting. What happened next was a masterclass in military strategy. The Ethiopians surrounded the scattered Italian columns and attacked from all sides. The battle lasted about 6 hours, but its outcome was decisive. The Ethiopian forces also suffered significant casualties. Estimates range from 4,000 to 7,000 killed and around 8,000 wounded. This wasn't a cost-free victory. When news of Adwa reached Europe, it sent shockwaves through the colonial powers. Italy was humiliated. The Italian government fell, and Prime Minister Francesco Crispi resigned. But the impact went far beyond Italy. Adwa became a symbol of African resistance and capability. News of the victory spread across Africa and throughout the African diaspora. The victory also attracted international attention to Ethiopia. Black intellectuals and activists worldwide saw Ethiopia as a beacon of hope. Ethiopia remained independent through the colonial period, the only African nation besides Liberia to do so. Adwa inspired independence movements throughout Africa. When African nations began gaining independence in the 1950s, today, March 1st is a national holiday in Ethiopia, Victory at Adwa Day. So why don't more people know this story? But the Battle of Adwa deserves to be remembered alongside other great military victories in world history. It was a triumph of strategy, unity, and determination. Emperor Menelik II, Empress Taytu Betul, And the Ethiopian people showed the world that African nations were not passive victims of colonialism. The legacy of Adwa reminds us that the colonial period wasn't just about European conquest, it was also about African resistance. And sometimes, that resistance won. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more untold history stories.